Hey church, I am happy to be part of a body that says, I want to hear the voice of God, I want to obey, and I want to teach others to do the same. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on here with prayer, a little bit about what's happened in our services this last week, and then also a little bit about what's coming up here in our family meeting. But I want to share with you about my neighborhood community party this last week. It was amazing. We got to see about 100, 150 people, not more than 100 cycling through, where we got together and we just got to bless my community. And I know we did that all over the city of Lethbridge, and I love that we're a church that says that's what we want to be about, is blessing the community. And so that's where the theme we're going to go with a little bit here today is how do we bless our community? And part of that is that we want to be praying. Jesus says, and when you pray, and when you pray, and when you pray. And we're right in the middle of the series called Teach Us to Pray. But he also says in verse 16, and when you fast. And so I want us to be a congregation, a family here that fasts. And so coming up here on the week of October 18 through 25 is going to be our week of prayer and fasting. And my invitation is can you get prepared for that? Will you fast with me and seek the face of God for our church? He truly needs to guide and direct us in this time because we're at a very formative time in our church here. So will you set apart some days in there, maybe that whole week, if you can, to fast with me for God's direction? Now, this last weekend, we moved from one service to 4 services. And it was amazing to see many of you out here. A lot of you for the first time since COVID struck. We had been averaging probably about 120 people at our 9 o'clock service. And this week we had just under 400 people come back to our services here. It was amazing. Our family service was packed out, our church at 6 was packed out, and our tradition service was packed out. And we had more people in our worship center service there. Now, we want to see that continue to grow if we can, and we've created more space in each service. But we didn't just invite you back to fill up our services. We want to see each and every one of you connected in small groups. And that's what each of our service pastors in those services are working on now. We want you to be connected in relationships, because if you have those relationships, no matter if we're in the services or if we're not allowed to be in services, depending what happens here, we want you to have relational connection. And that's why each of these services are going to be relational environments where you can connect with other people and get connected into small groups there. So that's what our goal is in this here, and we want to continue to move forward in this. So we need leaders. So if you're coming to one of these relational experiences, one of these services, we want you to think, could I lead a group within that experience? You're going to be well supported by our service pastors, and you're going to be well supported by our discipleship pastor, Jeremy. Because we believe that life change happens in small groups. And in fact, the smaller the group, the better. So these groups are going to give you the opportunity to shepherd and be shepherded, to love and be loved, to care and be cared for, and ultimately to reach out together with. Now, if you are not able to come to one of our services, or you choose for whatever reason not to and watch us online here, we still want you to be connected to a smaller group. That's where our bridge builders come into place, and Mark and Jeremy are working hard to make sure you're connected in that way. Or you can get connected with one of our regular small groups. Please contact us here at the church if you're not already connected in one of those ways. We would love to help you get connected to a smaller group. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is our upcoming family meeting here on Sunday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. We're going to have it on site here, but it's also going to be online. And we are going to be answering the questions you've been asking in the last few weeks about what's going on and how we're adjusting. So what are all of our staff doing at this time? How are we moving forward in our mission and our vision? And how are we seeing our ministry be fulfilled with our in, with worshiping God in our up, and also reaching out in or out there. And so we'll be answering your questions there. But I just want to say to you that we need your support during this time. We want you to come and hear what God is doing. We want you to come and bring your questions. And we want you to come and say, okay, I am ready to step into that. And this will be stepping in with your time, your resources, and your prayer. Church, this is a momentous occasion for us because we are going through a shift. It's not ever going to be the same after this because we feel that God is moving. And I've been saying this since the beginning. We are going to thrive in the midst of this, not just survive. But what we need is unity. At the end of Ephesians 3, it says that God is able to do infinitely more than we could ask for or imagine. But then the call after this at the beginning of chapter 4 is this: make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, binding yourselves together with peace. For there is one body, one Spirit, just as you have been called to one glorious hope for the future. I love the unity we have at this church. And at the board level, I want to let you know we are unified together. And we are trying to find the best ways to move forward together and continue to impact one another and the world in this way. So I look forward to being with you this Sunday and answering these questions, and then all of us getting on board, unified, and moving forward to what God has called us to. Amen.